Thanks to the support as a channel member, Kyle Mollix. In my defence, it was LEABURN's fault for getting injured when he got injured. But we've barely played him all season. I know some of you are going to be cross about it. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 38 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two Premier League games for you. We're away against Spurs and at home against Newcastle. And since you were last with me, it was very much pretty bad and then pretty good. I mean, to be fair, the pretty bad, we did have a run of tough games. Arsenal, Man City, some made-up team. And then, I mean, the one against Sunderland is inexcusable, really. But because of the joys of the Europa League, we got to play against someone really rubbish. Antwerp went away from home, scored 10 goals against them. And believe it or not, that gave us the boost we needed to turn our form around in the Premier League. And we've come out with a couple of wins and then another big win in the Europa League as well. So the two leagues that we are competing in look like this. The Premier League, we're in 7th place, 22 points, one game in hand on everybody above us. So if we do go and beat Spurs today, who are 1 point below us, that'll move us up to 5th place, which in the history of the save has always been a Champions League qualification spot. So that's definitely where we're aiming for this year. We want to be top 5. Of course, if Spurs beat us, they'll leapfrog above us and do the same thing. So we'd quite like to come to Spurs and get a result. As far as the Europa League goes, it's going very well. 5 games played, which means there's another 3 remaining in the league stage. We're 1 point off the top and looking good for qualification for that bit that misses the extra round. I forget, the new terminology still confuses me, but playing against the 3 teams we've still got to play against, there's no reason for us to expect any kind of defeats. So I would be expecting to have that opportunity to skip around and get straight into, I think it's the last 16 of the Europa League you skip through to if you fancy. And we are fancy. But as mentioned in the intro, the Miles LEABURN situation, he has very much fallen down the pecking order. I mean, if you look at the form that Rutter is in, Rutter has come in and, I mean, he's very much a European fancy boy, isn't he? He's not necessarily been in incredible form in the Premier League, but he does allow us to play a different way because he's so quick. Saturday, Sunday, hasn't really established himself yet. He's only been able to start 1 game, to be fair, and is kind of my first reserve, but we've very much fallen into Rutter being the starter, Sunday being the backup. Vasquez has the versatility to play 2 positions, so gets on the bench ahead of LEABURN as well. And poor old Miles LEABURN isn't even getting on the bench after being the top scorer in Europe last year. He has started 3 Premier League games and only averaged a 6.5. So it's not like we just wrote him off completely. I had reservations about him and how he wouldn't be able to fit into the way we're trying to play this season. He had 3 opportunities to do it, failed every time. So it's going to take a lot for LEABURN to make his way back into this team. He's 27 years old now. He's not likely to get any better. He's only 2.5 stars. If you have a look at where he is, according to my coaches on our lists of strikers, he is our 7th best striker. I mean, someone like Solari just hasn't even had a look in yet. And when I signed him a year ago, people were telling me he was better than LEABURN. So, yeah, LEABURN, I think, is done. If someone wants to come in and offer money for him in January, we'll happily let him go. We obviously don't want it to end sadly, but I think how else can it end? The boy's in his prime, and unfortunately, we've just grown beyond him, and he's one of several players who've got a little bit of a grumpy on. And if we can get rid of him, it allows us to solve this problem and get those 2 in the Europa League squad. Amo Ameyor still wants to leave, which is bonkers. Colin Gray, we are now playing in his role that he wants, so hopefully that will cheer him up. We'd quite like to be able to sign him permanently. And O'Donoghue, once again, might be a bit of a problem. There's a lot of clubs want O'Donoghue. He's always insisted on having a minimum fee release clause. It's currently 78 million. So this is a small problem because we're obviously not going to let him go. But if someone pays his 78 million fee, he might go. We've tried to offer him a new contract. He isn't prepared to discuss because of the interest being shown in him. So I think O'Donoghue is tempted by some of the opportunities to go and play for a bigger club. Even though he's missed most of this season through injury, he is now back and fit and back in the team. So we could potentially lose both of our wingers, which would then open the door for LEABURN to force his way back in again. If those two both left in January, for example, we'd probably move Rutter out onto one wing, Sunday would come in and go on the other wing, and LEABURN would come back in up front. So there is a route back, but it just involves having the team ripped apart, which I don't really want to do. So let's go beat Spurs. Let's get ourselves into the Champions League, and then we'll never have to worry about selling players ever, ever, ever again. Oh, by the way, the ground is I mean, using the word finished here is absurd. The ground is finished. Let's talk to the board. Can we talk to the board about the stadium? Hi, board. We really need a new stadium. Hopefully, they'll get back to me about that during this video. So the team for Spurs, we've got Hansen in goal, a back four of Gray, Suarez, Kubasi and Debye, Homo and Oscar in midfield, Amo Amior, Stanis and O'Donoghue supporting Rutter up front. Stanis, by the way, has really stepped up this season and he's looking good. 12 goals from 17 appearances and a 7.49 overall. He has made that attacking midfield position his own, and everything else in the attack is kind of built around him. I think he's benefited more than anybody of this more faster paced, different kind of attacking that we're able to do now, because we're not having to use LEABURN as a target man and a pivot point for the attack. It basically allows Stanis to have loads of space because you've got Amo Amior, Rutter and O'Donoghue all creating problems, stretching defences, pulling players out of position, and it's just Stanis has got so much more room to play in than our attacking midfielders have had traditionally, which, I mean, obviously Alfie Devine, very different kind of attacking midfielder, would play almost as a poacher in behind LEABURN, and it was almost like a big man, little man front two, whereas now it's very much a front three who do all the running, and then Stanis is just pulling the strings behind them and benefiting from the fun. I mean, I say he's got space, he had 3 men on him there, but I mean, I promise you, when it works, it looks good. And hopefully it'll look good now. There's Amo Amior winning the ball back. Finds Stanis, who has this little pocket of space. As always, lays back off to Amo Amior. Now Rutter is in, and Rutter scores. Rutter, the former Spurs man, and it's ruled out for offside. But Rutter was at Spurs for a long, long time, came through their youth system, never really got an opportunity to be a regular starter for them. He's getting that opportunity now with us and is scoring goals. And not only that, has incredible hair. As you can see, we all wish we had hair like Kyle Rutter. But yeah, he did get himself offside there. The silly bear. Goodness me. I mean, and then looking at their front three, how Rutter couldn't get into that front three ahead of the right back and the false 9, I don't understand. But I mean, I guess if I learned one thing when I did my Football Manager world record last year, it's that Pedro Porro is a winger and not a right back. Stanis is in there making the tackle and now trying to get a counter-attack up and running. I mean, we are able to do what he's done there, and it works more often than not. It didn't work on that occasion, but just playing a fast ball along the ground in behind the defence fairly aimlessly does seem to work more often than not, because we've got such fast forwards who can get onto the end of it. Unfortunately, Spurs seemed to have it really well covered, and now O'Donoghue has picked up another knock. He wants to leave. He's been injured all season, and now he's picked up another injury. O'Donoghue's turning into a big time numbskull. He only wants to play for England and big football clubs now. I'm falling out with him. Out with the old, in with the new. If LEABURN and Devine are going, take O'Donoghue with them. We'll take the pile of cash and we'll go and buy Charlie Gray. Oh, he's not Charlie Gray, he's Colin Gray. I mean, it should be Charlie. We'll sign Charlie permanently, and then everyone, you know, then we've got a really solid back six and goalkeeper, and then we just have to. I mean, I still think we probably need a real top level centre forward. Rutter, Sunday, they're great, but they're great inside forwards who can play up front. We still don't have that out and out clinical superstar striker. And I know some of you are going to say we had it last season with LEABURN. We didn't. We just benefited from the fact that he's 6'5" and the match engine is a bit broken with that. But if you watched as many of the games as I did, which obviously you can't, but I watched every game we played last season, and he just doesn't, aside from goals, it's always a ridiculous, results-oriented people will always think it's a ridiculous thing to say, but aside from all the goals he scored, he didn't really make any contribution to the team. Whereas what we're doing now is everyone is making that contribution. So To me, it makes sense. You sacrifice the goals, share them out a little bit, and play better as a team overall. But I know plenty of you are going to argue with me, and if we lose both matches on this episode, you'll claim you've won the argument. There's no way for me to win here. Right, Saturday, Sunday is on with 10 minutes to go. Rutter had a pretty poor game against his former club in the end. It's going to be Sunday taking the corner, and he is going to look, I think, to hit an in-swinger to this near post. No, he's gone far post where Urkel Geezer is lurking, and that's his first goal for the club. With less than 10 minutes to go, we might be about to rob one off of Spurs, which is, I mean, it's fine by me. I'm all about robbing one, especially when we're robbing it off of Spurs. It's a very accurate corner, pinpoint accuracy. You don't get that with Miles LEABURN. I mean, he would have been on the end of it, so you probably do. But Saturday, Sunday with the corner delivery, and now we are 1-0 up as we enter the final few minutes of the match, and we're going to have another go at it. Sunday, this time does hit the near post where I thought he was going before. It ends up coming clear to Amo Amayor, and now Angelo, who did get a run of games when O'Donoghue was injured and didn't really impress. I mean, he has scored there. I was about to tell you how he's one who's potentially going to be sold as well, and he weighs in with the deciding goal. It's not the deciding goal, we're already winning, but the rubber stamping goal, an important goal at the end of the match. It's 2-0 now to Burton. We've switched things up with our attack. Bringing Saturday, Sunday on has made a big difference there. He might not be scoring goals for fun just yet, but he's come on and made a big difference today. 2 assists for Saturday, Sunday, having been on the pitch for less than 10 minutes, and now it's Gray on the left-hand side as we look to really flatter ourselves. Stanis does exactly that. It's a 13th goal of the season for him. It's 3-0. We absolutely don't deserve it, and I absolutely love it. Spurs are going to be fuming. I went to a game at Spurs last year because, of course, I managed them in last year's non-league to legend. I know how bad the travel is, the trains and everything around the ground. I left 10 minutes early because I didn't really want to be there, but I left 10 minutes early, and there was still a queue to get on the train, and a lot of people left with me. I suspect there's a lot of Spurs fan who left with 10 minutes to go who don't understand how they've lost this game 3-0. Saturday, Sunday is the answer to that question, boys and girls. 3-0, lovely old stuff. And now we play top of the table Newcastle, who are the team who have turned O'Donoghue's head. And he's probably going to miss the game because he's hurt his delicate little ankle. But Stanis, great again. Lovely old stuff. Let's go beat Newcastle. So just the one change for the Newcastle game then. O'Donoghue dropping down to the bench because of that knock, and Angelo is going to come in and start again. And yet another opportunity for Angelo to show me that he is the man who can take O'Donoghue's spot if we do get that massive offer from Newcastle that I'm kind of expecting to get in January. It's being mentioned in inbox messages quite a lot in news reports that they're preparing a £78 million bid for him. So if it happens, we're powerless to stop him going because he's always insisted on that release clause. So we've got to be preparing for life without him, I guess. And realistically, we've spent most of this season without him because he's been injured for most of it. Newcastle are already winning, by the way. And if you recall from last season, Newcastle are something of a super team in this save. They've got some very useful players, including Victor Osimhen up front for them, and of course Inacio, who I've signed in a lot of my rebuilds, who's just opened the scoring from them as well, and they are definitely playing quite well at the moment. Top of the league, 6 points clear of Aston Villa, 12 points ahead of us, and we're supposedly chasing for a Champions League spot. Newcastle running away with it a little bit at the moment, so there's no shame today if we lose this match. It's not one we're necessarily expected to win, although of course if we've got genuine Champions League aspirations, which we do, then we can't get absolutely thumped by anybody in the Premier League, you would think. We've just ruined Spurs' day. Let's see if we can ruin Newcastle's as well. Although we've only had one shot in the entirety of that first half, and clearly it was from about 1,000 miles away because we got 0.06 of XG for it. That was a very uneventful first half, apart from that early goal for Newcastle, which frustratingly was from a set piece. Nothing else has really happened. We're going attacking, and I'm worrying that our front three aren't going to do any fancy, impressive stuff like I've been seeing them do. And the comment section is going to be full of people telling me I need to be playing LEABURN. I don't think LEABURN makes a difference in today's game. Maybe I'm wrong. Rutter plays it over, looking for Stannis, can't find him. It ends up with Debye, who gives it to Suarez, and now Gray bursts into the area. Can he find the cross? This is lovely work from Gray. I mean, it's just gone straight across the face to goal. I hear you. I know LEABURN scores there. That was his bread and butter, that kind of chance. Played across goal at headable height, and we didn't have anyone in there. We've got too many forwards and no striker. That's the problem we've got ourselves into. We've signed lots of exactly the same player because they're the player I like. I love the Rutter, Sunday, Amo Amayor kind of player. They're definitely the kind of forwards I always look for in Football Manager. But we haven't got that finisher, that big aerial threat. And it's cost us there. And now Newcastle on the counter-attack. With their fancy striker in the middle, Osimhen. It's not actually him who scores, but they do go 2-0 up. And I mean, for us to go from missing a sitter, I can't believe nobody got on the end of it. It was wonderful work from Gray. I think part of the problem is nobody expected him to get into the position where he could play the ball across, but he beat his man, got into the area. It was a lovely cross. I'd have loved to have been on the end of that myself. And then they go at the other end and make it 2-0. Stannis now trying for the immediate reply. Homo back to Angelo. It's with Stannis again. Debye. We're doing that thing again where we're trying to pass it into the net, aren't we? Get it in the area. Debye does float the crossover. Amo Amayor can't win the header. Stannis has been fouled though, and that's a penalty. And fingers crossed we can convert this and get ourselves back into this game. We don't want any... I mean, is there an embarrassing defeat against this Newcastle team? Probably not, but we don't want to get thrashed by anybody, because the last time we got thrashed, we sulked and didn't win for 4 games. Debye from the penalty spot, no idea at all why he's taking the penalty, but he is, and he scored it. And I might need to have a little look at my penalty takers. That stinks of haven't updated the penalty areas in about 4 years, and he's the only one who's still at the club from the last time I did it. So I probably need to have a little bit of a look at that. In fact, should we have a look at that now? Penalty takers. We literally don't have one listed at all. So why it would give it to Debye, I don't know. Because he is the best one on the pitch. Okay. I'm not going to argue then. Just leave it to it. It's who I would have chosen out of the selection that we've got. So we don't really have a penalty taker out of our starters either, which is another potential problem, I guess. Right. This is the problem with gegenpressing all the time. We played 3 days ago. We're not really doing the whole rotation thing that we're supposed to be doing now we're in Europe. We're just breaking our players and tiring them out. And we're going to do 5 substitutions in one go here because everybody's shattered. Right, Oscar's going to come off for Divine. And we're going to take off Stannis, and Sanguinetti can come on for him. Amo Amayor for Saturday, Sunday, and then O'Donoghue can come on there. We'll save 1 substitution. We're actually going to put Sunday up front and move Rutter out onto the left-hand side. I think of all the strikers we've got, Sunday is probably the one who's most likely to end up being our starting centre forward. He looks like the most strikery of all of them when I see them play. So Rutter, I think, probably has a future as the utility man who can cover the entire front 3. They've still got Isaac. Of course they have. He wasn't on the pitch before. Have they taken Osimhen off, or are they just trying to make me suffer by having them both on the pitch? It's probably going to be given. It's disallowed. Okay. So we do still have a chance to drag ourselves back into this. Let's have a look at the replay. I mean, yeah, he's 1,000 miles offside. Book him for that, referee. Utterly unacceptable. He's playing out wide. They do still have Osimhen on the pitch as well, which is perfect. Really, really perfect. Right, Gray and Homo are both tired. So I guess we take off one of those. We don't really have a backup left back on the bench. I guess Merkovic can do that role. So we'll bring him on and just make sure we've got energy in the wide areas. The fullbacks are very important positions in this system. So it's probably more important that we have energy there than there. Although Rutter's tiring as well now. We should probably go very attacking. Stop analysing things. Go very attacking. Get Hansen forward. I still haven't had a goalkeeper score on FM24. This whole not being able to send them forward for corners deliberately is very upsetting. I hate having to go very attacking, but it is the only way to get a goalkeeper to go up for a corner, and it only happens when you only need one goal and it's beyond the 90th minute of the game. It's so rare to even see them do it, and I still haven't had anyone score from one. But here's O'Donoghue. O'Donoghue plays it out to Rutter. This is an opportunity. Rutter across to Sunday. I think he's offside. But again, I think maybe LEABURN scores. Am I convincing myself to get LEABURN back in the team? I might be. What to do, boys and girls? What to do? Let me know down in the comments. The games continue to come thick and fast. We've got Liverpool in 3 more days, then a Europa League game, and Chelsea next weekend. We really probably do need to start rotating as well, which is why we've got a squad as big as it is. So maybe LEABURN does come back in for Liverpool. He hasn't played for a little while. This is what the league table looks like. If we ended up finishing 7th in our first year in Europe, we'd take that. If we could finish 7th and win the Europa League, we'd bite your arm off for that. That's like the perfect season in the situation that we're in. We never did hear back about the stadium, which is interesting. I mean, I know it's only been a few days. Just checking I haven't missed an email. I don't think I have. Stadium. No. They've just ignored me. How dare they? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.